What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Too Many Opinions podcast. This is Sarah.
This is Jeannie.
All right, Jeannie, tell us, what's today's topic?
All right, today's topic, I want everybody to brace themselves. I will be saying a lot of wild things on this episode, things that a lot of people will be pissed about, and I don't give a shit. Things I believe that's gonna help my specific Spanish community and also Black community, etc. This episode is gonna be called Stop Being a Victim.
Ooh.
Stop being a freaking victim. This topic I'm so passionate about because I'm 100% team Kanye. I know a lot of the things that he says is super wild. I don't agree with every single thing he says, but I agree with a lot of it.
Really?
So I want to start this off asking you a few things because as you guys may have seen, I'm Spanish, Sarah's white. Sarah went to a white school. I went to a ghetto-ass hood school called Hope High School. If you know, you know. So I kind of want to know because a lot of the argument in a Spanish and Black community is that you guys get taught a lot better than us. You guys get taught good shit and we get taught dumb shit. Okay? So I kind of want to know, what did you learn? Like, did they teach you about slavery in your school?
Yes, they taught us about Black history and slavery, and I feel like they were pretty transparent and clear about how history transpired, but I do not feel like they were also 100% truthful. I mean, even till this day, we paint one picture, and in reality, the history for the Black ancestors or the Hispanic people ancestors, anything like that isn't really, at least when I was in high school, wasn't really just
emphasized.
Yeah, it wasn't really focused. It was kind of briefly touched on, there were slaves.
Interesting.
And I don't know, it was discussed, but I feel like it was more focused on Christopher Columbus and World War I and World War II, where
that's so crazy to me. That right there is mind-boggling to me.
I mean, what about you? What was your experience?
To be honest with you, I'm going to speak as a Spanish person. I don't want to speak as a Black person, even though we're Black, whatever. That's another topic. As a Spanish person, we're almost taught to hate white people because in our schools, we're focused on slavery and how white people ain't shit, basically, and how they treated us and how they whipped us and they show us movies and it's like you grow up being not jealous, but almost a little bit that we're taught that, for example, if you apply and I apply to a job, you're going to get it because you're white. So we're taught to just hate. It's like a spew of hate. You know what I'm saying? And that's my topic. That's kind of what I wanted to see. In your school, did they teach you about credit ever? Did they touch on you'll have to buy a house one day? Did they ever?
Okay, so in that sense, no, they didn't give us that kind of education. Some of our teachers may have brought it up, but not to a point where they sat down and made us understand what a credit score was, what would be needed in order to buy a house. Those things weren't touched on. It was more when you get older and you finish college, you're going to be presented with these things. You're going to need to look at your credit score, and you're going to need to get a small credit card once you're of age so you can have credit, build credit, and then you're going to need to go out and buy a house. But they didn't give you any insight of what kind of programs become available to you as a first-time home buyer or
How
anything.
Did you learn about credit and all that type of stuff? Your parents or?
The internet. I mean, really, the internet. Once I found out how important credit was needed to purchase a car, to try to buy a house. And I feel like purchasing a car or leasing a car is one of the first places that you learn how important your credit is, especially as a young person. I mean, a lot of people, I know people have very different opinions when it comes to leasing versus buying, but when you're trying to gauge that, not everybody's put in a position where they can save a certain amount of dollars to do that. So it's that was when I really learned about credit and how important it was. And then when I figured out this is what you need to get qualified and stuff, it was only up from there. And then I started to do research and watch videos online about how to build your credit and what you needed to do, what really mattered, your debt to income ratio, and why having large amounts of balances on. So if you have a $5,000 credit card, you shouldn't have a $4,000 balance, right?
Right.
Those are things.
So these are things that you learned kind of on your own.
Right. Never taught.
Okay, so in your schools, they don't really teach you that kind of stuff?
No, you know what they did teach, though? They taught electrical and home ec and potential like architecture classes to get us open to try to, throughout like junior high and high school, they gave us these kinds of, credit, like classes that counted towards credit to help figure out what you like and what you would be successful in college. So that I'll give them. Like it was home ec, computer, technology, electrical, architecture, like all kinds of things like that, which I feel like everybody should be open to. And it wasn't a tech school. This was just a normal public
regular
school.
Okay. Because we had home ec and we had a few interesting and cool classes, but I feel like in Providence public schools, they don't teach you what you need to know in life. I'm only asking you all this because I feel like I've had this conversation with a few of my cousins and my friends, and they get so mad at me when I say, stop being a victim. Stop being a victim, because it's always like, well, you know what, Jeannie, it's not fair that, like, if it was you and Sarah, she's going to get the job over you because she's white. Stop it.
No,
Stop saying that.
I don't even believe that.
Let me tell you something. Do I think that white people have it easier in the United States of America? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will not take that away. Not one bit.
Yeah.
But when Kanye said, like, slavery is in your, it was not that it, I think he said something about it's not real or wasn't real. I believe that it was real. But I believe that in today's society, we're still slaves. Why do I believe that? Because you grow up, like I said, mad at your white peer because the white person has the house and the cars and the education and all this crap. And it's like, oh, well, we're in the hood and we don't get the opportunities as them. Yeah, you do. Okay. It might be a little bit harder for us, but it's hard for someone in Africa that lives under a hut. We got it made in America.
Yeah.
I feel like in today's age, if you're not successful, it's because you don't want to be successful. Not because of your skin color.
I agree. And that's a touchy topic, especially like coming from me. Like it's hard for me. Not that it's hard for me. Like I understand.
You respect. You got to have a level of respect.
Yeah, of course. And understand that it may not be, unfortunately, and I would feel like more back in the day, like it was different. Like it would be different. I agree like that. The situation that you're describing, like if it was me and you back in, let's say 2000 or 1999, we were just kids. But if that was a situation then, like I could see why, because it's like that level of racism, and that's kind of what it is, right? Was still very valid and around, and unfortunately even till today, like that is still,
it still happens.
Yeah, there is still people like that, and it's like those kind of people need to just be buried. But like I don't know even who.
But my thing is like this all stems from Kanye saying that the Jews own everything, which they do own everything for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like they got power in this country. And so it's like, oh, well, they own everything and it's not fair. Okay, but I love Cardi B to death. Love her, defend her forever in life. But as a Dominican, Trinidadian person, right? She don't know how to drive. She has 25 cars in her garage.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you're telling me, you know, just with one car, how much opportunity you could give your people to level the fuck up? Yeah. That's what gets me mad, and that's what he's talking about. You're taught in a Black and Spanish community, the bust down chains, the 35 million cars, the Rolexes, this, that, and the third. But you don't go to your community and buy property so that you can start putting your people on. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And it's like you guys complain, but when you get the opportunity to invest or put your peers on, and you don't even have to have money, but yo, if I learn something new, yo, tell your friends about it. Right. Start enlightening your own people to get better. Because Spanish and Black people is a lot in this country. Right. You imagine all the Black doctors, the Spanish doctors, the this, the that, and the that we could have, but we don't because we always want to blame it on our circumstances or our color. Yeah, that is a crazy concept. It gets me so mad that you literally, like, Tyler Perry lived in a car for years and decided this isn't gonna be my life. I'm gonna work. Yeah. But then you want to blame everybody under the sun and not take Kanye's stuff. It's baffling how Kanye is getting canceled, bro. But R. Kelly was like a rapist. And not as canceled, not even close. No, Kanye's really taken a hit. And I think about that whole situation, what blows my mind, and I think it was another artist who said it, they made a comment to something along the lines of, if it was a Black man speaking about the Black community, there wouldn't have been no backlash from any of these big companies that he's been airing out.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly.
And he wouldn't have lost all these contracts. But because he made a comment about essentially white people, it was like all these businesses rallied together and removed them.
And it's a little scary because if it wasn't true, why do you care?
And I think that concept in and of itself, like they would allow it to be said if he was talking about his own people. But because he was talking about another race that may be closer to them, it's everybody's.
And it's not even
one out.
Whatever with the white people, but it be your own people, bro. Your own people. Instead of standing beside him, again, I know he says a lot of wild shit, but if you really stop listening to clips and listen to whole full interviews of things, you start thinking like, well, something ain't adding up here.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm not gonna blame you because you stayed home and you studied for hours and hours and I decided to go party.
And that I think that's really the victim mindset, is like, I don't have money to elevate, but I have money to enjoy the moment because I want to enjoy right now. So it's like we get into this vicious circle of what I can't do that. I can't be that successful, but yet I can celebrate in this moment because I'm going to die one day. So I rather just party right now instead of really focus on your situation, figure out what it is that you need to be to grow or like get the money that you're looking for. But instead of doing all that, we rather sit and sulk in our own.
Exactly. But then this is the thing. They argue, well, Jeannie, I went to a hood school. We went to a hood school. We had the worst textbooks. We got taught the worst crap. Okay, I'm not taking that away. I understand that. I understand that some schools have it better than us. You know what I'm saying? But I also understand that you have a phone in your hand with thousands and thousands of people telling you what to do, with thousands of information for you to get out and do better. But you don't want to. You want to blame it on your color.
Your color or how you were raised, your education. But my thing is that even what we're taught in school, and I don't mean this in any kind of bad way, what we're taught in school has no relevance to how successful you are. History class doesn't pertain to how you become successful. Statistics class, math class doesn't make you successful or not. English class, okay, they teach you how to write, so I guess you really do need English. But you know what I mean? But it's like all these classes that were taught in school really have no relevance to your level of success.
At all.
So it's like to use that excuse is crazy to me.
That's me too. And that's when it comes to if you wanted to, you would. And if you wanted to be, you live in a country of crazy opportunities, whether you're white, black, Spanish, Indian, it doesn't matter. Does it come easier to others? Yes, it does. But if you start hooking your own people up and building, you can start hooking your people up.
Yeah, or even showing
I'm not saying
people.
I won't be like a racist and let's say I become a CEO and I'm only going to hire Dominicans. I'm not saying that. But it's going to be easier for a Spanish person to get in. Because I'm the top now. I'm going to look out for my people. And that's what I feel like Jewish, white people, whatever you want to call it, that's what they do. They keep it in their own little race and they keep building and building. So if you're seeing, it's the truth. If you're seeing that, start thinking, yo, you know what? I'm going to build myself a business and I'm going to start hooking my people up. I'm going to start enlightening my people.
And I believe that. And that's why I feel like, I know this is a little different from the topic, but that's why you should always support small businesses, Black-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses.
Right. But what do? We go buy Balenciaga, Gucci, yada, yada, yada. But then you don't freaking support Teflar or whatever the heck you got. That's what I'm saying. It be your own people. It be your own people. And then you want to blame it on, because she's white. Oh, Sarah got the job because she's white. No, maybe Sarah got the job because she's intelligent and deserves to get the job.
Or vice versa.
Or I got the job.
And you had the experience. You had the knowledge. You were able to communicate something better than anybody else in the room. So it's like, that's because you wanted to.
Right. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It does. It 100% happens where maybe a black girl will apply and a white girl will get the job. And the black girl was a lot more qualified. It's happened.
It does happen, and I also feel.
But I just feel like more than not, we live in a world that you could easily. I work for the Rhode Island Commission for Human Rights, and I will say it. I don't care. You guys can come visit me. It takes. You know how quickly you can sue a company for that.
Wow.
Like I get these cases all the time.
Wow.
For racism, if you could prove it, bro. You think companies want that?
Yeah, they don't want that over them. Not at all.
They're so careful now to hiring equal amounts of everybody. So you can't really use, that's not flowing. I don't want to be a victim. I'm not going to be a victim. I don't give a hell. I don't care.
Okay, so how do you feel about this? I'm sure you've probably seen it online too. Have you seen especially like in the midst of the pandemic, there was people recording themselves showing that they were submitting their interview with their real government name, which could have been have like some like flavor to it or flair to it, right? Mm-hmm. And then they weren't getting no callbacks on the interview. Or they chose, when they were filling out the application, instead of choosing black or Hispanic, whatever, they chose white. And
That happens a lot.
And then they would put, instead of their real name, they'd put like a fictitious name that is more generic, we'll say, right? And then they would get a call for an interview. And they wouldn't know that they were either Hispanic, black, whatever. And then they show up to the interview, and now it's like, okay, they're like, oh, hi, Erica. And they're like, no, my name's whatever.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? Because I feel like, oh man,
I feel like that's real. I feel like there's racism in this country, but I also feel like if it was, let's say, a Spanish or black person as a CEO, you'd get in quicker. Same thing.
Like, oh, this is the one I want. Oh, sorry guys,
No,
I'm
it's okay.
totally moving.
Yeah, it's you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. My thing is, let's start bringing up more black and Spanish CEOs then.
Yes.
Instead of complaining so much. When one of us makes it, instead of buying 25 cars that's going to be parked in our garage, why don't we start building communities and businesses and enlightening our people?
Yeah, putting them on
That's my point.
Yeah.
But you wanna rap about shooting and fucking bitches all day.
Yeah, or just how you're going to continue to be successful and get money, and then just put your family and friends on in the sense of putting them in a house, or buying them a car or whatever. And it's like, that's not doing anything good for your people. That's just giving them like monetary stuff to appease them, instead of being like, this is how you're going to be successful. Get this kind of business, do this, or buy this kind of house, flip it, or whatever.
Right.
So
and I feel like we're in a time right now where we have so much information at our fingertips. There's no more excuse on why you shouldn't be educating, and your 12-year-old doesn't know about credit already.
Yeah.
I didn't know about credit till I moved out of the state, and I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm not blaming my parents. It is what it is. But now when I have kids, things are going to start changing. You know what I'm saying? And this victim mentality, my kids, for example, I feel like slavery should have 100% be taught in schools.
Yes.
100%. But should we be focusing on something that happened 55,000 billion years ago? No. I need you to start focusing on how you're going to be successful, and how you're going to put your kids on, and how you're going to tell them about credit, how to buy a house, how to maintain a household.
Investing.
Things that are important now. I'm so sorry, but I really don't care about that anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we need to sort of change the curriculum a little bit.
Absolutely.
In school. I think we need to elevate that. I feel like it should be taught like necessary stuff like history, science, math, right? Like
whatever.
That. Like that should all be there, but there should also be like credit scores and finances, like how to manage your finances,
how to love yourself, mental health education.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let's stop spewing all this hate
and not just burden the bees.
Right. Making Spanish people and black people hate each other. Making white people hate black people. Making think about it. You start learning all this thing as a little kid. I really, literally, when I would see movies as a third grader, I remember saying, I hate white people. Look what they did. Look what they did to us. And it's true. If you're seeing a white person calling a black little boy or stuff like that, there's this fire that lights up in a Spanish and black person. You have no idea.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You see in them getting whipped all the time. That should be taught, but that should not be focused on, because again, you're growing up with hate, and you're gonna grow up as a victim.
Yeah, and that shit just it even hurts me to hear that, because it's like, why? How did we allow that? How could you see anybody through just by their color of their skin?
Exactly.
That makes no sense to me. So yeah, it bothers me too that was allowed, that people were allowed to treat other people like that. There's no color. I don't see people for color whatsoever.
Exactly. And again, don't erase history. It should be taught, but it should not be emphasized the way it has been all these years. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with what you're saying. I feel like that's a very valid point that you're making, is that in school, what we're being taught till this day has really focused on, especially in the communities, the Hispanic, the black communities, is that you guys are really being taught
that you guys get it easier.
And it's not good. And then that creates that victim mindset.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this. Did you just coast your way through life? Did you get everything so easy? And that gets me mad how now, because you're white, well, I don't feel bad for you, Sarah, because you got it easy because you're white. You didn't have to work. Which is crazy
to me.
You didn't have to work, Sarah.
That is absolutely not the case. Trust me, I worked so hard my whole life, 2-3 jobs trying to get by. it's absolutely crazy.
And
So-
then it gets me mad that you're like, you don't really have the option to express yourself the way you want, because it's like you gotta watch out for everything you say because you're white.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you didn't like it's your fault that Tom Hanks from 30 million years ago whipped somebody. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
Yeah.
it gets me mad because at the end of the day, we're all human. Yes, we all have different colors and stuff like that, but you still had to work hard.
Yep.
You didn't get shit
Handed to me.
handed to you.
I absolutely
Maybe
did.
some people do, but also there's some black and Spanish kids that get shit handed to them.
You're
and don't do
absolutely
nothing
right.
with it either.
Some people are just raised from money. And
Whether you're black, white, Spanish, whatever the heck it is, Asians,
Yeah.
Indians,
You just have money and you come from a different tax bracket.
right?
So it shouldn't be defined, but it also shouldn't define you as a person. Just because you came from money doesn't mean that you're not going to have to work hard. Like I also
Right.
think that's a stigma too. Like people who come from money, they're like, oh well, you already have money. Okay, well that doesn't.
gotta
That's
work to
that's my
keep it.
parents' money, or that's
Or
my
you got to work hard to keep it.
right. So it's like that's not really a valid argument to me either.
That's what I'm saying. It's not fair to sit there and just think that someone had it easier because of their skin color. That's not fair either. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like I feel like everybody should be have respect for one another, and I feel like everybody should work their asses off because you
Yes.
live in a country where it's still very possible to make it.
And if you don't make it, that's by choice. That's by choice. Everybody has the same amount of hours in the day. So if you choose that because it's the weekend, right? And you worked your 9 to 5 all week, you're tired, right? You're exhausted. Oh my goodness. And you don't want to hustle and you don't want to get up and do anything on the weekend. You rather just wake up, be lazy. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody loves a lazy day. But at the same time, you need to limit that and focus like, okay, so this is my 9 to 5 that's getting me through it. But what's my side hustle going to be that's going to elevate me? And no color or race should be putting up a roadblock for you to get there.
not. And when you get there, people that are successful already, when you get there, start putting your people on, bro.
Share the wealth. Share the
Share
knowledge.
the wealth, the knowledge. Start opening centers in your community. Do things for your people. Not
And
just buy 30 fucking cars that's gonna be parked in your garage.
Right. And when I say share the wealth, I mean literally share the knowledge that you've acquired on how you can get there. You know what I mean? Like
It's
if you
so
know
maddening.
somebody, so like the Cardi B situation, she literally came from the gutter, right? She came from the gutter, from the
nothing.
streets, all the way up, was stripping, doing her thing, and now she was on TV, loving hip hop. Like she took all the appropriate channels in her path to get to where she is today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I understand she's like, oh well, her mentality maybe, well, I worked my ass off. I shouldn't have to worry about putting other people on. They have the same amount of time in my day. They can work for it, right?
Facts.
So
Which
like,
is true.
which
She's
is-
not obligated.
she's not, right? And she's also not anybody's mama to be like, okay, right? I need to put you on. And I guess this is my last point here, but I think that she could have also offered people time, like maybe not like a community center or anything like that, or buying property. She could offer her time on how she became how her path impacted her success. Like share that, like, this is what I had to do. Was it hard? Yes. Did I go through things? Yes. But are you able to do it? Yes. Look at me. I'm standing in front of you and I'm the rapper that I always dreamed of being. So I feel like she could also give that knowledge and wealth of
Exactly, because ain't nobody telling you don't buy 35 million Birkins.
Right.
If you want to buy 35 million cars, buy them. But also don't complain.
right.
Don't complain that your people ain't up and that you're now you're depending on a president to freaking change things. Like, no, you can change things. You have the power in your hands to
Right.
change not millions, or maybe, I don't know, thousands of people's lives.
And just by sharing her path and her trajectory and the information that she's learned along the way can change someone's life.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying she's not doing it because we don't really know.
Right,
I
right.
haven't seen it, but I would hope that more Black and Spanish people, when you guys make it, start putting your people on and stop complaining that this, that.
And you know what else I give Cardi too, since we're talking about it? That she does take on a lot of newer artists and she'll get on songs with them.
She does.
I give her that because
I
she
love
really
her. Like,
does.
she really is dope, and
Yeah.
she has put a lot of Dominicans on too. Like, we're gonna give her flowers with
Yeah.
this too. But I just feel like
It could be different as well.
the Spanish and Black community, when they are up, I don't really see, like, look at Nipsey Hussle, what he was doing before he died.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Nip.
Trying to put like a whole bunch of like a center together to just enlighten his people.
Right.
That's like admirable, because it's like, bro, we could be so successful. We really
could,
could, and
everybody.
we're not, because we decided to like
we're stuck in a lifestyle and a mentality that doesn't allow us to grow. So if you're tuning into today's episode, the moral of the story is do not let anything or anyone block you from what is meant for you.
Right.
What's meant for you from God will be, but you have to be willing to put in the work and go through the stages, make the sacrifices, make the changes. And if you're not, then you're going to end up in the same position that you've always been in.
Absolutely. And stop blaming your parents that they didn't teach you things. Stop blaming your color. Stop blaming when you grew up. Stop blaming the school you went to. Stop blaming the money that you got in your pockets right now. Stop blaming all that. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, you're not doing no service to yourself.
Literally.
At the end of the day. So that's all I have to say. Stop being a fucking victim. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah. And I would
So
say,
over
say it with your chest. Whatever you got to say it with your chest and definitely stand behind it.
And
right?
I 100% stand behind Kanye West.
So, okay, girl.
I do. That nigga, I was gonna say that. Nigga. That guy is phenomenal, a genius in my eyes. So
Well, I hope Kanye is able to really like pull himself out of this whole situation. I mean, he started to make apologies and whatnot. So hopefully he's able to rectify whatever it is.
yeah,
and-
it's more like it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
That's where he kind of goes wrong in my eyes. But start doing better, people. That's all I gotta say. I don't got it all together. I'm trying to figure it out. But you best believe the
You're
day that
working
I
towards
make
it.
it, I'm already putting all my friends onto all the knowledge that I know. And the day that I make it, that's my dream, is to build my community the hell up.
Yes. Well, one day at a time. Until then, I guess we'll tune
See
into
you later.
we'll tune into the next episode.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.